Yo, what's up, YouTube? Saw a video over here by the Act Man. I kind of wanted to react to it. It's called The Never Ending Decline of Xbox. I'm interested because, Xbox was my first love. I had the original Xbox. I had consoles before that, but that was the big game changer for me. Original Xbox and Xbox 360 until I converted over to PS4 because everyone knows about the travesty of the Xbox One. So let's just go ahead and get started.
For me than disappointing the Xbox community.
Xbox has been in the freaking dirt for years now. And at this point, I don't know what it's going to take for these suckers to start finally picking up the broken pieces and rebuilding themselves back up into the brand that we used to know with the Xbox 360.
Can they at this point?
Not one,
Can
not
they?
two, not three,
Yes.
but 4 studios.
Are
And
they
that
likely
means
to?
that Xbox has now closed more studios than its released games this year.
Way I see it, best thing we can do is let the week go. Move on, get our money, start over.
This is a studio that was on the rise. You can tell they're very talented. They knocked it out of the park with Hi-Fi Rush, gave Xbox
Did
the
they
best
close
press
them?
they've received in a while. And what does Microsoft do?
Gaming.
And the Game Award goes to Hi-Fi Rush.
Not that you
How
care
does it
too
win
much about
awards
that.
and it closed it
That's-
down?
Only
When Tango wants to go do Hi-Fi, when everybody probably thought they were doing Evil Within 3, I want to give the teams the creative platform to go and push their ability, push their aspirations.
You're all liars, and all goodwill is now completely thrown out the window. I am now back to being extremely skeptical about Xbox.
So the idea of flushing a humongous amount of their pool of talent down the toilet right now at a time when they need games more than ever, it's absurd. It's beyond absurd.
It feels like the final straw. I've never seen this much criticism and negativity surrounding Xbox right now because of what they've just done.
It's not that hyperbolic to say that Xbox did die a little bit. It died in my heart a little bit.
I don't get you. Don't get you no more.
Microsoft is in a situation where I really feel like they have no idea what to actually do with their brand anymore.
Oh, the doubting. The doubting.
When you have a successful studio, when you have a successful game, and you still get completely shut down.
You did everything right.
Everybody laid off. You did everything right. What does that tell future people that work for Microsoft, that get purchased by Microsoft?
Means no one's safe.
If these two aren't safe with a $3 trillion company backing them, nobody is safe. Nobody in the games industry is safe. No studio you love is safe. Everyone is at risk of being shut down.
It's just good business. This is a world where nothing is solved. And someone once told me time is a flat circle.
What's up, everybody? This is the Act Man here, and today, in this video, you will learn why the Xbox brand is failing, why they're not producing or releasing many top-tier titles anymore, how Phil Spencer's Game Pass business model is inherently flawed, and why nearly all of the major franchises from the 360 era are either dead on life support or taking an indefinite vacation. Happy times. Today you will learn why the
Indefinite
Xbox continues
vacation.
its never-ending decline. Are you ready to stop being a casual? Studies show that 9 out of 10 gamers who install Opera GX will not only touch grass, but feel the warmth of a woman's touch within the first month.
Sign me up.
Because Opera GX is the best internet browser for gamers. GX gives you an insane amount of customization in your browsing experience with GX mods. There are thousands to choose from, and I immediately picked Dark Souls because I have gotten good. These mods change
Opera
everything
X, huh?
from keyboard sounds, themes, and the color of your browser. You can install as many mods as you like, mix and match between them, and swap easily. It's super simple, and it makes Opera GX stand out amongst the hordes of generic internet browsers. One of Opera's coolest features is GX Corner. Conveniently found on the sidebar, GX Corner keeps track of tons of upcoming games, their release dates, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, hell yeah. It also shows games that are on sale, new trailers for recently announced titles, and the latest news in the world of gaming. Opera GX is perfect for me because I like staying up to date on everything that's going on. And GX Corner keeps all of this important
Actually,
stuff
kinda
in one
sounds
place,
cool.
so I don't need to open 100 different tabs for it. It's time to get a browser that's as cool as you are. And you can download it using my link in the
As cool
description
as
and
me.
comments. Download and use Opera GX today. And thank you, Opera, for sponsoring this video.
And now for something completely different.
When I made this video 4 years ago, I thought 4 years later, things would get better. They have not. Recently,
He pulled
IGN
up some
reported
socks,
that
man.
Microsoft is shutting down multiple studios, including Arcane Austin, developers of Redfall, Alpha Dog Games,
Never
and
heard of
Roundhouse
it.
Studios. But most notably, the developers of Ghostwire Tokyo, Evil Within 1 and 2, and Hi-Fi Rush
Evil
were shut
Within?
down. Tango Gameworks. This is a character-defining choice
It's
for
a good game.
Microsoft and Xbox. When faced with this moral dilemma, they did not tag along with John. They went back for the money. This is, of course, devastating for the people who work at these studios, but Microsoft was there to make us chuckle a little bit by launching a brand new controller. Feel the burn.
So, you want to know if I can feel it?
But to all the unfortunate developers who were laid off, at least Microsoft
New
is
controller,
giving you this
same controller they've
some swag.
been making for the
Bro, are you
last
for real?
10
You want
years.
merch from the company that just laid you off? Now, if your brain is hurting already, don't worry. The pain is going to get much worse, to the point where
Don't
you
get me
too
wrong, I
will
like
want a team
Xbox
of so
controllers,
debilitated
but
that you qualify for a position in Xbox
you need to spice
leadership.
them up
It's
a little
going to take
bit.
time to fully understand how mind-boggling these shutdowns are and what a terrible impact this is likely to have on Microsoft and Xbox in the future. Well, in my opinion, Xbox has had 11 great, phenomenal years and 11 years of getting shit-faced at the bar, constantly telling everyone they're going to be back on top. And I think I've finally seen through all the lies and deception that I've been told by Xbox leadership. The stuff that I bought into, I think I finally unplugged from all of that. Xbox has become so far detached from what initially drew me to it that I can't even describe what the brand is anymore. I can tell you what it used to be. Xbox was the console that proved we Americans could do it too. Not just the Japanese, we could do it too. Xbox was a place for the wackiest, most creative, niche games, a stunning variety that covered pretty much every genre imaginable, from snowboarding to boat combat. Xbox was a massive innovator in online gaming, couch co-op, graphics, fidelity, performance, and it pushed the technical limitations of the time. But if you ask me to describe what Xbox is now, I would say it's not Xbox. This is Microsoft Gaming. Welcome to Microsoft Gaming. Would you like to purchase one entertainment product? And even Seamus Blackley, the creator of the original Xbox, laments this revelation as well. Today, Xbox is like an amorphous blob, an all-consuming void hell-bent on assimilating as many studios as possible to throw their games on Game Pass and then discard the studios. In other words, Majin Buu. Today, Xbox is a brand that can't see past its own nose. They can't see anything beyond immediate, short-term gain, because the Activision Blizzard acquisition was $70 billion. That is putting some eyes on Xbox and what they're doing. They need to start producing results. Xbox leadership is in a tight spot, so they're looking for short-term solutions, and they're sabotaging their own efforts to foster long-term successful IPs. You see, Microsoft has all these different studios that they've acquired, and they have huge pools of talent under their umbrella. But isn't it odd that a $3 trillion software company could have so much trouble creating software? Seriously, man, why is every single Xbox game I'm excited for delayed, rebooted, going through development troubles, or announced 5 years ago and then never talked about again? Well, I'll answer that question later in this video. The point is, the one studio that seemingly had their shit together, Tango Gameworks, a studio based in Japan, a market that Xbox has consistently failed to break into, who just released a Game Award-winning, critically acclaimed title, this is the studio you get rid of? Excuse me one moment. Nope, still doesn't make sense. I didn't kill enough brain cells.
Congratulations, sir! You have just given me my $1 million!
Great. What do I win?
Nothing! Now get out!
What?
Get the fuck out!
If we reduce the number of employees for better short-term financial results, employee morale will decrease. I sincerely doubt employees who fear that they may be laid off will be able to develop software titles that could impress people around the world. Where did this quote come from? Well, would you look at that? It's former Nintendo CEO Satoru Iwata, who said this after taking a 50% pay cut after the financially disastrous launch of the Wii U, so he wouldn't have to lay off any staff. Anybody at Microsoft or Xbox willing to take a pay cut to keep this incredible studio around? Anyone?
You and Microsoft Games CEO Phil Spencer have been raising kind of the alarm that the video game industry is just not growing. And
Never gonna happen.
Figure out how to reverse that. What's causing the issue, and how does Xbox turn it around?
Does anybody notice how these stockholders, CEOs, and freaking people have become massively greedy in the last 5 years?
It's Capcom celebrating their 7th consecutive year.
Not that they weren't before,
They're making more money
but they're
than they ever have
insane
before in
now.
the company's 44-year history. What's their secret? Video game sales? It's impossible. What's this? Salary increases for all employees? No! Surely Capcom has to be like a $4 trillion company to afford such extravagant treatment for their employees and staff, right? Oh God, oh no, oh holy shit, oh this. This is what you don't get Xbox and Microsoft. The words in these two articles. This is also why you haven't and why you will probably never break into the Japanese market. Make good product, sell product, make money back, pay employees. Employees who make good product are happy and keep working on next product. Slow down there, Ackman. It's a little too complicated, okay? Microsoft, being as big as they are, probably thinks they can toss out whoever they want and throw a bunch of money at a replacement, and that solves the issue.
I just don't think we're all interchangeable. I think things change when you change the people. That's why my motto is always be nice to the goose, is because I think the goose that lays the golden egg, it's not the egg that you need to care about, it's the goose, and the goose is the team.
We're seriously talking about mistakes that continue to be made.
Based. That is based. That is far too much for these freaking these freaking CEOs to understand, and that goes along all industries.
What is happening to us? What's happening to you?
This is the first of many problems with the Tango shutdown. Microsoft is once again closing the doors on the Japanese market. Now, only Japanese developers who are likely to work with them. This is all besides the point that Tango Gameworks was extremely talented. They were founded by Shinji Mikami for Leon Kennedy's sake, the genius behind Resident Evil 4. What did he have to say about Tango's shutdown? Sad. Here's the thing, not every studio is capable of tackling different genres
Straight to the point.
The same level of success. A lot of them get stuck doing the same thing. So when a studio like Tango is able to swap from horror to action rhythm beat 'em up, and it turns out amazing, you've got some serious talent and creativity over there. You should nurture this golden goose, and you strangled it again. But let's hear Microsoft's side of the story, because there has to be a good explanation for this, right? So Matt Booty is the head of Xbox Game Studios, and he was the one who sent out the email to staff informing them of the shutdowns. The changes we are making to our Bethesda and ZeniMax teams. These changes are grounded in prioritizing
that guy got bullied in school.
And further investing in Bethesda's portfolio of blockbuster games. I posted this video at the perfect time. It's just like I told you. They're going bigger games, bigger budgets, doubling down on established IPs, no new creative ideas, just stick with what's safe. We're gonna make fewer games with longer development times. Yes! Yes! The release schedule was too fast for Xbox's first-party titles. We need to slow it down more. Fun fact, video game production cycles have gotten so long that if a big-budget game studio started working on a brand new project today, it would likely be for the PS6. Fuck yes, I'm so excited for this game that had a cringy trailer 4 years ago and haven't heard anything since. I'm so fucking hyped for it. Wait a sec. Prioritizing high-impact titles. That's bizarre terminology I've never heard before. That's what it is, because they wanted to have a high impact on Game Pass subscriptions, which have been declining steadily recently. Surely Microsoft isn't putting all their eggs in one basket.
Because why does anybody want Xbox Game Pass when the games that have come out in the last 2 years to 5 years have sucked? We only had maybe 2022 where 2021 couple good games came out, but we were in a drought of games from like 2018 to like 2022. I can't remember anything that I really wanted to play. And in the last 2 years, a couple good titles have come out, but the games have been trash. They've been terrible. On launch day, they're unplayable. So I'm to the point where I'm not even going to buy any new games, at least for 2 years. You know what I mean? New games don't become good for 2 years into their lifespan. But hey, you know what? They want to keep doing that, that's fine. I'll wait 2 years to play the game that they'll then end up putting on sale up to 80% on Steam. Where when they could have got me to pay $60 because I was excited to play a game on launch, I'll just wait 2 years now, wait for it to come on sale after it's been fixed. Because I'm not, they're not worth buying out the gate.
And focus on our priority games.
And they're still not even really that good.
More than enough money to buy all of you.
There's no reason for Game Pass.
Actually, JK, we do have money to open a brand new sweatshop a week after closing 4 studios. What the fuck is happening? As we look to the
and
future,
you could say, oh well, there's old games that you can play on Game Pass that are good. I own most of the old games already. They've already been on sale on Steam, and I already have a library of old games ready to go. I don't have to freaking buy Game Pass to play those games.
There sure is. I'm really excited for that Perfect Dark reboot. Oh, Perfect Dark reboot, still in very rough state. A big protracted mess. But I'm sure a new
Perfect Dark, haven't heard of that one.
I mean, that was one of my favorite RPGs on the original Xbox. Development is slow due to Playground's inexperience with RPGs. Fantastic. What about State of Decay 3? That's looking pretty good. Is troubled development with State of Decay 3? Okay, do we get any games? Any games? Rare. They're working on something new, right? Everwatch. Don't expect Rare's gorgeous new IP to launch anytime soon. It's been rebooted. Okay. Microsoft owns Obsidian. And Obsidian always comes in clutch. I bet their new game is coming. Avowed has been rebooted several times. Now you know why Matt Booty is saying they have incredible games on the horizon, but lists 3 DLCs and 1 game. But speaking of Fable, remember when Microsoft shut down Lionhead Studios? And they were like, it was one of the biggest missteps.
We acquired Lionhead in 2006, shut it down in 2016. A couple years later, we reflected back on that experience. What did we learn? How do we not repeat our same mistakes?
Then you've learned nothing.
What makes
You've learned nothing.
Is not the act of failing, but learning nothing from it. You have learned nothing with all the studio shutdowns. Xbox leadership continues to fail, learn nothing, and keep making the same mistakes decade after decade. Splatoon is a great example of how if you foster a sleeper hit, it can become an enormous franchise all on its own. At Xbox, if you make a sleeper hit, they fire you. If buying games doesn't support the studio, give me one good reason to buy a single Microsoft game ever again. Well said. Does Xbox even remember how the PS3 managed to pull ahead? Remember when Uncharted 2 was such a sensation that gave back the prestige Sony needed to make their console a necessity? Notice how there's a 2? Because Naughty Dog was allowed to make a sequel that was a bigger hit. It's funny you say that because the real reason Tango was shut down is because they were pitching a sequel and wanted to hire more staff. What you say? That you only that well. According to an article from Jason Schreier, Tango was in the process of pitching a sequel. Booty said that
Ant-Man's down bad right now, man.
Like peanut butter on bread.
He's getting edgy over here.
Sort of stretched like butter scraped over too much bread.
Booty added that the shutdown of Arcane Austin was not connected to the
Fucking
performance of
Booty,
Redfall.
dude.
So we have 2 polar opposites. We have a
Booty is
flop,
Booty.
and we have a critically acclaimed borderline masterpiece. Both studios behind them are shut down, and it's not because of how they performed. Jason writes, both Tango and Arcane were looking to hire additional staff as they pitch new projects, which Booty and Braff suggested was the main factor behind their closures. Just further evidence of how disposable you are if you work for Microsoft. I've already talked about the massive fucking contracting issues they have with hiring staff and not keeping them on long enough to learn the engine and code that they're working with on a game. But Jesus, man. The massive Activision Blizzard acquisition has ramped up scrutiny on the Xbox division from leaders at Microsoft. Bingo! Ding, 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 ding! It's time to cut costs so that our profit margins, if we have any, look better, because that's all we're in charge of. So basically, these studios were closed to save money and the asses of Xbox leadership. That's the real answer. The only explanation that makes any sense.
The workers here need to know they ain't ever getting out of that hole they dug themselves into. This world is sick, dark, sad.
Xbox promised to support less sprawling creative titles like Hi-Fi Rush with smaller budgets and lower sales expectations. It didn't matter if a game sold tens of millions of copies as long as it helped bolster the Game Pass library. And herein lies the fatal flaw with Microsoft's strategy. They are no longer interested in developing high-quality games that sell well. They're only interested in boosting their main source of income, Game Pass. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Game Pass. It's great for consumers, and I'm not criticizing the concept of Game Pass. What I'm criticizing is the
I think Game Pass is trash.
strategy is not resulting in best-selling games. There seems to be no standard of quality at Microsoft with their first-party titles, and they're sacrificing other means of revenue to funnel everything down a single lane.
You acquire a studio for what they're great at now, and your job is to help them accelerate how they do what they do, not them accelerate what you do.
Looks like Phil had a change of heart, because now all that matters is what can you bring to Game Pass. So some of you are watching this video and you might be thinking, well, Ackman, that's just business. You shut down the studios and departments that aren't making you money. That's just how it is. We don't like it, but what can you do? Well, let's analyze Microsoft's strategy for making money off of Hi-Fi Rush. A new IP with zero brand recognition is shadow dropped without any marketing. Literally, the marketing budget for Hi-Fi Rush was 62 cents. It's put on Game Pass the same day it comes out, so we're not getting massive sales, but subscriptions, and it was hardly promoted at all after this, but it spread like wildfire because of word of mouth. This is also besides the point that Microsoft had an opportunity to show this game just a few months prior at the 2022 Game Awards, but they were completely absent there.
It's a bad sign when there were more Muppets at the Game Awards than Xbox World Premieres.
So in my humble opinion, for all intents and purposes, Hi-Fi Rush was at worst set up to fail, and at best was given no help from Microsoft. And yet, despite all of these factors, it was a breakout hit in every key metric. If you want to argue that Hi-Fi Rush didn't make enough money and that's why they had to shut the studio down, that fault is 1000% on Microsoft. Leadership fucks up and the talent gets axed. This is why Xbox's current business model of all-in bet on Game Pass is not sustainable long-term. There's a great post that sums everything up, so pause if you want to read it all. But here's a highlight. The biggest paradox with Game Pass is that basically every game that launches on the service badly misses its sales goals. Makes sense though. Why pay full price to buy a game when you can play it for free as part of your subscription? Microsoft says it needs games like Hi-Fi Rush the day after killing its studio. I can't do this anymore, man. We need smaller games that give us prestige and awards. This is the guy in charge of Xbox. What is he saying and doing? Again, look at Capcom. They are soaring right now because of video game sales. So what's the plan, Microsoft? You gonna keep gambling? You're gonna push COD onto Game Pass? Are you going to risk the guaranteed consistent sales of Call of Duty to boost subscribers for Game Pass? That's risky. In the eyes of Xbox, it seems like the efforts of an individual studio is not important. It doesn't matter how much your game sells or how prestigious and critically acclaimed it is. What matters is your contribution to Game Pass. Did you move?
How does that make any sense? You can have millions, or I'm thinking Call of Duty is it's got to be up in the, maybe not billions, but hundreds of millions of players
Microsoft is putting their games on Steam. Game Pass
that will pay $60, or are you gonna try to get them to pay $13 a month for your subscription?
Multi-platform now, so there's no particular reason to buy a Series X, which is driving down sales of the console. So it's not looking good. I feel like now is a good time to dismantle the bullshit marketing for the Series X being the world's most powerful console, because almost no game is capable of taking advantage of its specs. Hey Phil, how come Starfield only runs at 30 frames? Starfield running at 30 FPS on Series X was a creative choice. Trust not limited by our commitment to the Series S at all. There hasn't been a killer app for the Series X, and if there has, you can play it somewhere else. See, Microsoft's biggest advantage back in the day was that they knew software really well. So with the original Xbox, all they had to do was make a console that worked with the software they had. This made it much easier to develop games on the Xbox.
At that time, Japanese game consoles had very proprietary chipsets, and they just didn't work very well for Western developers. What the DirectX group was proposing was, there's a better way to do this. We're going to use PC architecture that you're familiar with, which is just going to work out of the gate, so they could spend more time crafting and building.
Yes.
They had an incredible developer-friendly story. You already know how to write these games. If you've written them for PC, you can write them for console as well.
This is no longer the case with the Series X. Like I said, all these fucking games are delayed, rebooted, or whatever. Arguably, what was Microsoft...
From my understanding is now they just make games for consoles and then boot them, port them to PC. That's why a lot of PC games nowadays suck, because they're all freaking console ports.
Every game has to be designed for hardware that's weaker. Remember when Baldur's Gate 3 came out and there was some confusion about why it wasn't on Xbox? That's because split-screen co-op didn't work on Series S. I'm getting deja vu here, huh? Because of this careless oversight and estimating Baldur's Gate 3 to be worth like $5 million, Microsoft missed out.
To be fair, the split screen on PC for Baldur's Gate kind of sucks.
What are we doing? What are we doing? They only made
it works, but it sucks.
Because they saw the game explode.
Geeks out if there's freaking if you cast a spell.
Of owning the world's most powerful console, if every game has to be reduced in size, scale, scope, fidelity, technically everything to run on weaker hardware. I understand wanting to offer gamers a cheaper alternative to the Series X, but in hindsight, it's fucking stupid because you cheapen the experience on the premium console in the quest for accessibility. Here's a head scratcher for you. Why did people stick around with the Xbox 360 despite it being one of the faultiest consoles ever created? Because the games were good. Pick any year of game releases for the 360 and it will far surpass whatever we have seen on the Series X. Xbox used to be a huge innovator. Tell me what the Series X has innovated in. Backwards compatibility? Sure, a bit, but we had that on the 360 too. Microsoft is not innovating with video games. They are innovating how you consume them. Now, I could go in depth with Redfall about how every major red flag was ignored by leadership at ZeniMax, leadership at Arcane Austin, and leadership at Xbox. I could talk about how this game never should have been released in the state that it was, but my brain is genuinely starting to hurt. Phil constantly talks about how he's not going to push against the creative direction of his studios, and I can respect that. However, you can't be an absent father and just let the kids fucking do whatever they want. Somebody has to step in and say, we need a Slayer playlist for Halo. What the fuck is going on with Redfall? Okay, we lost 70% of our staff and everybody that remains wants the game to be canceled. Okay, we'll cancel it. Somebody has to come in and make the big decisions, okay? Instead, Redfall was promoted as a major first-party title and Hi-Fi Rush wasn't. What's the standard anymore? Everything I've just said has been building to what I'm about to say now. If there's anything I want you to take away from this video, it's this. Microsoft is a software company. They produce software. They do not produce entertainment. They buy entertainment and sell it like it's software. Video games are entertainment. Technically, they are software. I know. But Microsoft no longer has the ability to cultivate or establish successful long-term franchises on their own. Instead, they rely on buying them, on buying IPs with loads of promise before inevitably running them into the ground and shelving them forever. They've been doing this since at least 2008. If you want your franchise to die, sell it to Microsoft. They've killed every golden goose they've ever got their hands on, and they will kill yours too. The big difference between now and back then is Microsoft knew how to promote a game. They would cough up the dough. They had a keen business sense for what would do well and how to promote it. They would push back creatively to figure out what was most important in a game. You can see this in the Gears of War development behind the scenes videos. They push back on things like the Chainsaw Lancer to see how important it is to the developers. It's like, yes, the Chainsaw Lancer was real fucking important. We need it. Oh, okay, all right. You can have it. It's like a test to see how confident a studio is in their vision, what they think is important. In my opinion, the role of a publisher is to push on creative decisions to find where the gold is. Where are the golden ideas? Everything worked out for Gears 1, but that's partially because Microsoft was taking an active interest in the game, promoting it as a killer app. I do not see or hear about this level of involvement with Xbox leadership anymore. Not interference, not involvement, absence. So in conclusion, these studio shutdowns isolated aren't a big deal. It's when you look at the bigger picture that you understand how bad things are right now for Xbox. And you know, I still love Xbox, but I've been wanting it to get back on track for over a decade. You say you hate disappointing Xbox fans, but you disappointed me, Phil. And I'll continue to root for you guys and hope you do the right thing. And I'm just one guy, but I grew up with Xbox. And I can't tell you what it is anymore. But thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. It was a bit nihilistic and sad and depressing. Hopefully they can turn it around. I'll be streaming the Xbox Game Showcase on June 9th. So we'll see then.
Actman's got a solid point, man. This guy's super smart. I've never had anybody put it so clearly. I got really nothing to say or to add because it's just a huge disappointment. As an Xbox fucking fanboy for half of his freaking life, I'm just highly disappointed. They dropped the ball on the Xbox One, so I ended up going to PS4. Then I built my PC, and there's no reason to have an Xbox anymore because you can just buy those games on a PC. But there's really no freaking reason to even buy Microsoft Xbox games. When was the last time there was a good freaking Xbox game? Halo Reach? Because 4 was booty. Infinite was booty. It's better now. I play it now. And I enjoy it. But the game took like 4 years just to be good. Gears of War hasn't been good since 3. What's another Microsoft title that anyone gives a damn about? Can't think of one. I'm sure with enough time I could think of one, but right at the top of my head, there's no other games that nobody cares about. They haven't done anything with the IPs that they've been buying. They bought Bethesda. Starfield sucks. No one gives a crap about that game. And I heard about Wi-Fi Rush. I was like, yeah, you know, it's not my type of game, but I might give it a try. Then they shut them down. I'm kind of like, oh, man. I feel depressed for those people. So, whatever. I've been saying for a long time, they need to just stop selling Xboxes, focus on entertainment. Because like Actman said, he's like, they're not a freaking like game company, a hardware company. They are a software company. At this point, the Xbox, in terms of hardware, is dead. Become a software company. Purely software. If you are going to continue to make hardware, make it a PC. Make it accessible to freaking Steam and Xbox Game Pass and have access to like Microsoft Office, Word, and PowerPoint and stuff like that, and target it towards kids that are in school. This is a console or a PC that you can play games like it's a console experience with Steam or Xbox Game Pass. that you can also use for schooling, and encourage parents that want their kids to care about school, to buy their children this fucking Xbox that's a PC that they can use for doing their homework, playing their games, make it an all-in-one freaking like console PC experience. That's what they need to do if they're going to keep on continuing down the hardware route. But I've actually heard some people talk about why Microsoft won't do it, because it would make them a monopoly, blah 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 blah. They would still have to compete with PlayStation and Nintendo. If they did that, I don't think that would just put them out of the water. They would still always be able to sell consoles, especially freaking Nintendo. But that's about the only thing I can see. They got to stop selling just a console experience. It has to be a PC console experience. Because if you have a PC and you can just buy Xbox games on it, you now need to give people a reason to want to buy your hardware. Whereas right now, I can just go online or to Best Buy or Micro Center and buy my own components, build my own computer, download my own operating system, and freaking play Xbox games. Even if it's not Xbox Game Pass, I can just buy other freaking games. Like I just bought Minecraft lately because I'm not gonna pay for Game Pass. I want to own my own games. I don't want to rent it from you. I don't want you freaking telling me I don't own my games. I don't want you putting ads in my games, because that's the freaking path that we're going down. We're not going to own our games anymore, and they're going to start sliding more ads into everything, because that's what streaming services do. Look at Netflix, look at Hulu, look at Amazon, look at freaking HBO Max, like all of them. They're adding ads to everything. And there's all these tiers that you have to get through just to be able, you have to have 500 different streaming services nowadays. I don't want to do that. I'd rather own my own freaking games. They need to focus on software, not fucking streaming services. Probably not even hardware. I think they need to just give up on hardware. The only way I think they're going to survive is if they do the PC console all-in-one freaking experience. It's the only way I can think of it working for them. But I hope the best for the Xbox, but I just don't see it at this point in time. I'd hate to see it die. Probably won't die. Just probably going to be trash. But yeah, that's it. Go to the Act Man. Give his video a watch. Give him a like. Friggin'. That's it, guys. Peace.